Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 2 of ukulele. Sorry, my computer's like rocking there. To week 2 of ukulele sessions here. I really need a catchy name for it or something to really zest it up a little bit. But this week we're going to talk about and cover two topics. Well, the nice thing is it's going to be all about the right hand, and the left hand, because they do very different things, and that's kind of really important to keep in mind. And we're going to make this designated as if you are a right-handed person. So even if you feel like you're left-handed and you're like, oh, well, I'm primary left-hand, I want to switch it the other way, trust me, it will be okay if you just do it the right-handed way. If you felt like you really truly struggled, the problem is then you'd have to reorder your strings because you were playing it the opposite way. So we're going to treat everything as you're right hand dominant here. So the first thing is with your right hand, it's all about the strumming and really getting that ukulele to sing. So what I always say is it's like pretend like I had some crumbs or something, because when I eat it like falls over my beard and then it gets all over my shirt. If I was going to take my hand, I was going to kind of brush the crumbs off me. Let's pretend I'm neat and I don't make a mess. But anyways, if I'm brushing crumbs off, that's like the same feeling of using my fingertips across the ukulele. So for example, if I just open strings and I'm holding it and I'm down here over the sound hole, let me lower this a little bit. I'm down here over the sound hole and I just do a little brush of the crumbs. You'll notice it has a really good ring to it too, and it's beautifully in tune after our last video. So I just do, again, brushing the crumbs off my ukulele. I'm doing kind of different rhythms, but even for you, if you're practicing, just down is fine. This would be called down strumming. There is up strumming, but it's different on how I do it because you're using the pads of the fingers versus the nails. So when I strum down, I'm just really using the nails, the finger, to kind of go through that. And I don't have super duper long nails. I keep mine short anyway, so it's not like you need these like claws or talons to be able to do this. But that would be my right hand. So as I'm holding it, I'm just sitting comfortably. And if it's in tune, you get a nice sound. You can actually play to that. What I'm going to do is add the left hand here because it's a super duper easy way to do this. So left hand is in charge of everything on the fretboard here. These little white lines are called frets, and they're separated by numbers. So watch this. I'm going to blow your mind right now. This is fret 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know what I'm doing is I'm putting my finger in the box because that's where your hand or your finger goes. It's not where you don't put it directly on the actual fret, which is this line here, because then you get this like different type of sound, almost like a flunk sound or a airy type sound to it. So what I do is I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to put my ring finger, and this is going to sound crazy right now, but to play this chord that I'm going to show you, you're going to use your left ring finger, and you're going to put it on the 3rd fret of the A string. And if you remember from my last video, it's good children eat apples. And that's going to sound like that. My dog has fleas. But when I get to that A string, I put my 3rd finger down. If I go and strum, it's going to give me a C major chord. It sounds really nice. And if you remember in the last video, you could sing any song you really want. Hot cross buns. Because that's everyone's favorite, I know, I feel you. Or somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Now, ideally, I'd want to change chords at some of these points. You wouldn't just play C the whole time, but I'm trying to give you a little introduction. You could do a lot with just one chord. You could go here. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. And you get the idea. You can do a lot of songs in the key of C here and really make them sound nice with the vocal ranges we are using. So again, all I'm doing is getting used to brushing the crumbs. And you don't have to do anything crazy. Just get a nice little strum there. And then you'll notice my ring finger's sitting on that A string third box. Oh, I'm going to call it box. That drives me crazy, but it's the best descriptor for it. Third box there. And that's going to give you a nice little C chord. So that was our quick tutorial for this week about those two things, strumming and the C chord. While it's a quick tutorial, it may be helpful for you to pause the video at times to work on these different skills to make sure that you are doing the things right, especially with something like strumming. A lot of people will ask me, oh, well, Rob, could I use a pick? Yeah, you can, and you're going to get, I don't have a pick near me. You're going to get more of a accurate sound, like a punchy sound. But look at any video on YouTube. The average ukulele player, you can use just those fingers and those hands. And you can get a lot going on without a pick. I mean, if you needed a pick, you can cheat along with it. But again, if you're with your salt someday and you play that ukulele a lot, it's all about using the instrument itself. So let it really breathe and sing with a natural feel to it. But yeah, so those are a couple things to work on. And then really, the only other thing I'll say with the C chord here is if you don't push the string down on the fretboard or the neck hard enough, you get this sound. So if you get this like thump, thump, thump sound, yeah, that's definitely something you gotta be careful of. You wanna make sure it sounds like this. It has a beautiful sound. Anyways, that's our video for this week. We talked about two big things, important things, strumming and the C chord. Now, if you're struggling with tuning, the one issue you may run into is you go to play the C chord and you might be doing it right, but it sounds off. Like, for example, if I'm doing this, let me untighten, retighten, untighten, retighten. And you go and you're like, look, Rob, I've got the C chord. And it just doesn't sound right. That's probably because you got to just work on that tuning skill. And I know, like I've said, I hate that I can't be there with you to retune and readjust your ukuleles. And I promise you work with an adult or a friend or family member in your house, they'll help you out with it. It does get easier the more you tune and get used to tuning, friends. But yeah, so that would maybe another reason why you play the C chord and you're like, oh, I don't like singing along with it. Other than that, friends, we'll kind of explore some other chords next time, because if you like singing and doing things like that, it's a lot more fun when you play more than one chord. So I'll show you a couple songs that we can do with a variety of chords. All right. Have a great evening.